This video is not for people waiting for a fancy edition, but it's for those searching for real value to become rich and understand the psychology of money under every rock. In this episode of the Money Talks Slowly podcast, we're not selling fantasy. We're revealing how the wealthy actually think, move, and invest. If you buy things you do not need, soon you will have to sell things you need. Warren Buffett. This is the truth most people ignore. It's not about looking rich. It's about being free. You were sold a dream that was designed to keep you poor. Get the job, buy the car, swipe the card, lease the lifestyle. Spend your whole life chasing symbols of wealth while the real thing slips through your fingers. They taught you to look rich, not to be rich. But wealth isn't in the watch. It's in the discipline. It's not the house. It's the habits. It's not the salary. It's the mindset. This is the game, and you either play it with strategy or you get played. Warren Buffett understood that early. He wasn't chasing status. He was studying compound interest when most kids were chasing recess. He wasn't looking for quick money. He was learning how money grows slowly. Then suddenly, he bought his first stock at 11. By 14, he was running a pinball machine business. By the time his classmates were partying, he was reading balance sheets, obsessively, patiently, because he understood. The earlier you plant the seed, the bigger the forest. The world tells you to be fast. Buffett tells you to be wise. Everyone wants to look rich now. Buffett wanted to be free forever. You want to escape the 9 to 5? You want real wealth? Stop chasing the appearance of money. Start buying the one thing money can actually buy: time. Time to think, time to build, time to own your life. And you do that not with consumption, but with compounding. You think the wealthy got there because they worked harder? No, they learned to think differently, to delay differently, to suffer differently. They trained their minds to wait while others rush, to read while others scroll, to invest while others spend. While you're upgrading your phone, they're upgrading their assets. While you're binging Netflix, they're binging shareholder letters. The difference isn't talent, it's tolerance. Tolerance for boredom, for patience, for watching the slow, invisible work of wealth compound over decades. You think it's about picking stocks? Buffett says it's about picking habits. You don't need to be a genius to get rich. You need to avoid stupid decisions over and over again. You need to wake up and realize that every dollar you waste isn't just a dollar lost. It's decades of growth destroyed. You didn't buy a $600 phone. You bought $6,000 and lost opportunity. That was your future, sold for a moment of ego. It's not about being cheap. It's about being smart. Buffett eats McDonald's, drives a used car, and lives in the same house he bought in 1958. He can buy anything, but he doesn't, because he understands. Wealth isn't what you spend. It's what you keep. But this isn't just about Buffett. This is about a mindset shift. Look at Bezos. He made decisions with a 10-year lens. Every move was long-term, delayed, disciplined. Look at Musk. He bet everything on vision, not comfort. Look at Jobs. He built simplicity with obsession. These men played a different game. They didn't trade their hours for income. They bought back their time by building assets. And they started by mastering the invisible game, mastering themselves. Because if you can't control your impulses, you'll never control your money. If you can't say no to junk, you'll never say yes to freedom. Most people are stuck, not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack restraint. Buffett once said, "The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken." Every purchase, every distraction, every shortcut you take, they're not isolated events. They're habits, chains. And every time you choose comfort over growth, you tighten them. But here's the truth. The same compounding that builds wealth builds poverty. It works both ways. Bad habits compound just like good ones. Indifference compounds. Excuses compound. Regret compounds. You can ignore money, but it won't ignore you. So you have to choose. Do you want short-term comfort or long-term control? Do you want toys or time? Because you don't get both. The average person buys liabilities and calls them assets. The wealthy buy assets and let those assets buy their life. It's not complicated. It's just not easy. Investing isn't sexy. It isn't fast. It's slow. It's boring. It's years of watching something grow so gradually, it feels like nothing is happening until it explodes. But most people can't wait. They want fireworks now. They want fast flips and crypto spikes and meme stocks. Buffett laughs at that. He says, our favorite holding period is forever. Why? Because value doesn't live in motion. It lives in conviction. You don't get wealthy by jumping from trend to trend. You get wealthy by standing still on solid ground, by doing the boring thing longer than anyone else is willing to. That's how compounding works. It doesn't reward the clever. It rewards the consistent. And the truth is, most people aren't broke because they didn't know. They're broke because they didn't wait. Wealth is math. But it starts with mindset. Everyone's chasing more money. Few are building the vessel strong enough to hold it. What good is a windfall if your habits leak it away? This is why lottery winners go broke. Why high-income earners drown in debt. They never learned how to think like owners. They think like spenders, consumers, tourists in the land of wealth. Buffett didn't win because of luck. He won because of structure. He built a system around patience, around value, around waiting until the odds were so in his favor it was nearly impossible to lose. He said, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." Translation? Every time you chase, you're handing your future to someone who waits. Look at the ones who build true, lasting wealth. They build systems that make decisions for them. Automatic investments, tight budgets, clear principles, iron habits. They don't trust motivation. They trust structure. And that structure does what hype never can. It compounds. Because real wealth isn't made in moments of excitement. It's made in decades of discipline. The world wants you distracted, emotional, reactive. But Buffett, he sits, he reads, he thinks. He reads 500 pages a day, not because he's showing off, because knowledge compounds too. Because financial intelligence isn't about flashy moves. It's about quietly building a mind sharp enough to spot real value and patient enough to wait for it. Most people never get rich because they spend their lives solving the wrong problem. They ask, how can I make more money? But the right question is, how can I become the kind of person who keeps it, grows it, multiplies it? Buffett didn't chase more. He built better. He mastered the inner game. Because here's the truth. You're either an investor or a consumer. There is no in between. Every day, you vote with your actions. You either invest your time, energy, and dollars into something that grows, or you spend them on something that disappears. When you understand that, you stop looking at money emotionally. You start looking at it like oxygen. You don't waste it. You don't flex with it. You protect it. You respect it. You stop asking what you can afford and start asking what it costs your future. Because that's the difference between the rich and the rest. The poor buy to impress today. The rich buy to secure tomorrow. And when you really internalize that, when you really feel it in your gut, you stop seeing wealth as an event and start seeing it as a process. Slow, boring, relentless, and worth every second. The truth about money is that it's simple. Not easy, but simple. Save more than you spend. Invest what you save. Repeat for decades. Buffett didn't invent a hack. He mastered the basics until they became a fortress. He didn't need 50 strategies. He had one. Buy great businesses at a good price and hold them. That's it. That's the game. But most won't play it. Because it takes too long, because it's not exciting, because it doesn't feed your ego today. But it will feed your family for generations. You want to build wealth like Buffett? Here's the truth. Don't chase. Build. Don't react. Study. Don't flex. Accumulate. Don't consume. Compound. Because wealth isn't an act. It's a way of being. You don't need better picks. You need better discipline. You don't need more luck. You need more time. And you get time by buying it. Not with toys, not with vacations, not with things that rust and rot, but with decisions, habits, investments that pay you back in freedom. The world will sell you everything that makes you look rich. But Buffett, he teaches you how to be rich, not just in money, in clarity, in time, in peace. So stop buying distractions, start buying time, and never forget, in the end, wealth is not what you flaunt. It's what you can walk away from and never worry again. Discipline isn't just a virtue, it's a financial weapon. Because every undisciplined dollar eventually becomes someone else's asset. Every dollar you waste funds someone else's empire. Every luxury you borrow feeds someone else's freedom. That's the game. You either become the owner of your future or a subscriber to someone else's. You're not just buying things, you're buying outcomes. A $100 dinner? That's not just a night out. That's hundreds in lost compounding. A luxury car on a loan? That's years shaved off your financial freedom. Every purchase has a price, and the real cost isn't in dollars. It's in dreams deferred. Buffett doesn't avoid spending because he's cheap. He avoids it because he understands leverage, not just financial leverage, psychological leverage. The leverage of saying no today so you can say yes to anything tomorrow. You want that kind of freedom? Then you need to start saying no. No to the endless scroll, no to the emotional swipe, no to the new gadget you don't need. Because every time you say no to something meaningless, you say yes to something powerful. And that's how the wealthy win, by turning restraint into results. Look at Charlie Munger, Buffett's right hand. He didn't just read books. He built a latticework of wisdom from every discipline, psychology, history, economics. Because he knew money is never just about money. It's about decision-making, and bad decisions are expensive. Munger said, "The first rule of compounding is to never interrupt it unnecessarily. Every impulsive decision is an interruption. Every time you sell out of fear, panic, or envy, you kill your own golden goose. So stop playing defense. Start playing like an owner. Own your time, own your knowledge, own your damn decisions. No one's coming to save you. No windfall is going to fix poor habits. You can't out-earn stupidity. You have to outgrow it. That's the Buffett way, not brilliance, not charisma, relentless clarity, ruthless patience. unshakable conviction, and the willingness to look boring while silently becoming unstoppable. Because that's the secret they won't tell you. Real wealth doesn't shout, it whispers. It sits quietly in index funds. It lives in used cars and paid off mortgages. It shows up in early mornings and long evenings of thinking while the world parties. It's not glamorous, it's not viral, it's not loud, but it is free. And freedom is the ultimate status symbol. When you have enough, you stop needing to prove it. When you build real wealth, you stop renting identity. You don't need designer tags to feel powerful. You don't need to act rich because you own your life in ways others can't even imagine. So don't ask how to look wealthy. Ask how to never need to impress anyone again. That's what Buffett mastered. That's what the greats built. And that's what's waiting for you if you stop chasing and start compounding. Here's what they won't teach you in school. Nobody builds empires by accident. Nobody becomes financially free by default. The system is not designed to make you rich. It's designed to make you dependent. Debt is normalized. Consumerism is glorified. Discipline is mocked. But wealth, real wealth, it doesn't follow the crowd. It moves in silence, then speaks in legacy. You have to stop waiting for permission to think differently, to act differently, to live differently. Buffett didn't wait to be told. He didn't follow trends. He followed principles. He read while others watched TV. He bought when others panicked. He held when others flipped. He mastered one idea, that compounding wealth requires uncompromising values. And it starts with this. Your future is not a lottery ticket. It's a math problem. You solve it with clarity. You solve it with time. You solve it by making decisions today that your future self will thank you for tomorrow and for decades after. Because every sacrifice you make today is a seed, not a loss. And if you water it with patience and protect it with discipline, it will grow into something that cannot be bought. Freedom. Not rented, not borrowed, owned. The kind of freedom that lets you walk away from noise, from stress, from the paycheck treadmill. The kind of freedom that lets you build, create, and live, not just survive. That's what Buffett bought. Not toys, not trends, time. And if you want to win like the wealthy, you'll have to do the same. Buy time, own time. Invest in what makes you free, not what makes you look fancy. Because in the end, wealth isn't about being seen. It's about being sovereign.